I hope you are doing good. Our today's session is about writing summaries or summary writing. Before I start today's lecture, let me ask you if you have ever summarized anything. Take a pause and think about it. If you have ever summarized anything. Okay. If I ask you if you have ever summarized anything, you would definitely think about your academic writing and your summary that you might have produced for your matriculation level or your inter level, and or there is the possibility that some of you would say that they have never produced any summary. But the fact is that we all summarize anything on daily basis. How is it so? For example, if you regularly watch any TV drama serial and you miss any episode, you may ask one of your friends who also watches the same drama serial. You may ask him or her that what did happen in the last episode, and he cannot definitely tell you the whole story of half an hour or 1 hour, so he or she would summarize it for you. Similarly, if you miss any event, for example, there was any event in the university and you missed it, and the people said that it was very interesting event and you shouldn't have missed it, and you would ask him or her that okay, just tell me what happened in that event. So the person would summarize it for you. Similarly, when you miss a lecture, what do? You ask your friends what did the teacher teach in the last lecture, so he or she would summarize it for you. So in our daily routine, we summarize anything. So this is not only about writing summaries for your academics, but it can be summarizing anything. Think about it once again, that whenever you have to summarize anything, how do you summarize it? Do you tell the person each and everything, every detail that you had seen or witnessed or read or heard about anything? Or you summarize the things, or you reproduce the gist of that writing or the drama or the event or anything? So, yes, this is something that we do. We do not repeat whatever has happened, but we focus on the major details, major points, what happened in the drama serial or what was covered in the lecture or what happened in the event and so on. So we basically focus on the major details, not without even going into the minor details of that thing. So this is how we produce summaries. So what actually is a summary? A summary is a shortened passage which retains the essential information of the original. Now remember that it must contain the essential information of the original. It is fairly brief statement, restatement in your own words of the contents of the passage. Okay, now remember that if I could highlight different things, I would have highlighted shortened passage, I would have highlighted essential information, and I would definitely have highlighted the original. So these are the important words in these three lines. So remember that whenever you are producing a summary, it has to be brief, it has to be the shortened form of whatever you have read or heard. It must contain the essential information. Remember that whenever you are producing a summary, you are producing it for a person who has not seen the original one, who has not heard the original form, who has not read the original form. So it means essential information should be retained and it should be as close to the original as the original is. Because if you are missing the essential information, it means the person would not be able to relate whatever you have summarized to the original text or the original video or the original event. So it has to be as close to the original as possible. And then again, important words are that it should be restated in your own words, because if you are picking the chunks from the original text, it means you might not be able to relate one chunk with the other chunk. You have to relate it with the previous sentences or the chunks, and you have to write it in your own words. If they are not written in your own words, there is very much high possibility of plagiarizing the content. So remember that if in summary writing you are simply reporting back whatever the writer has said or whatever has actually happened in the event or whatever the teacher has actually taught, and you are not supposed to add your own judgment into it. You are not supposed to add your own comments into it, and you are not supposed to infer from the statements that are said over there or that are written over there. Rather, you have to restate whatever the writer or the author has actually said. So what I have said, that it must be as close to the original as possible, it has to be shortened form of it, and it has to retain the information that is essential. If you omit or if you delete that information from your summary, the reader or the listener will not be able to relate it with the original text. Then what are the characteristics of a good summary? It is a faithful reproduction or contains only the ideas or information of the original. Now, what is this faithful reproduction? Faithful reproduction is that you are not adding your own ideas into it, you are not adding your own evaluation into it. Rather, whatever the author has said, you are simply reproducing it without even evaluating the text. Then your good summary would be a good summary is considered a text that can be understood without reference to the original, because definitely your listener or your reader has not read or listened to the original text. Rather, he or she is going to understand it through your summary. So it has to be clearly written or clearly narrated. It has to be brief without unnecessary details of dates, figures, and useless information. I am saying useless because it does happen that whenever you are reading a full-fledged paragraph, there is some basic information, and then in order to make that basic information clear, a lot of information is given, a lot of other arguments are given in order to make one point understandable. Try to rephrase it in your own words in such a way that you are summarizing it in such a way that people are able to understand it without even the presence of 5 more sentences. So you have to read 5 sentences, you have to read 6 sentences, you have to understand them, you have to rephrase them, you have to write them in your own words without going into the details, minor details of dates and figures, until and unless they are pivotal. If you think that without mentioning those dates or figures or numbers your information will be incomplete, in that case you definitely have to add that information, otherwise it can be skipped. And then another important thing is that you have to follow the sequence or the chronological order or the readable unified text. How is it so that you have to follow the sequence? If you are summarizing something, remember that it should follow a sequence, because you are restating the words of someone else, and the one who is going to read your text is the one who has not read the original one. So if you are not reproducing it in the chronological order or in any sequence, rather you are randomly giving the information, it means your reader will not be able to understand the whole text. So whatever you are saying, it has to follow a particular sequence. A flow should be there. So if someone is reading your text, he or should be able to make a picture in the mind of the story of the event that you are restating or you are narrating. What is a topic sentence or a thesis statement? I'll focus on the topic sentence. I remember, I hope that when we were discussing the paragraph writing or anything else, we had talked about the topic sentence. Let me explain it once again. Topic sentence is the key sentence of your paragraph. It means whenever you are writing something, your topic sentence or your thesis statement gives the overview of your paragraph. Because definitely topic sentence is the one which is basically the reflection of your whole paragraph. So once somebody reads your topic sentence, he or she would be able to know that this is something that I am going to read in the coming sentences. So the topic or general subject matter of the text, it has to be there, the author's major assertion, comments, or position of the topic. So this is what the topic statement or the thesis statement is. So whatever basically the author wants to say in the whole paragraph, he makes it clear for the audience in the very first sentence. Then what should be there in your summary? It has to have the supporting ideas or the major supporting details. Then remember that there should be relationship among all these ideas. Whatever you are writing, whatever you are stating, remember that all the sentences should be interconnected with each other. You cannot write the chunks in isolation. People do write the chunks in isolation when they try to reproduce the summary of something that they haven't understood. Because once you understand something, it becomes easier for you to reproduce it. So when you are reproducing it, after understanding the text, the relationship automatically builds over there. But if you fail to understand the text and you simply pick the chunks from the sentence, from the passage, and you reproduce it, all the sentences are written in isolation without any interconnection between them. Then you have to retain the author's purpose in writing without adding your personal opinions, your ideas or inferences, as I have just said. So whatever the author had said, you have to reproduce it and remember what was the purpose of what was the author's purpose in writing that particular paragraph. You have to retain that also. Sometimes it does happen that your selection of words, your choice of words, or the way you state the statements, it changes the meaning of the sentence. Remember that not only the story has to remain the same, the author's purpose should also remain the same, and you can do it by your selection of words and your syntax. Syntax is how you are writing those sentences. So again, this is very important. So we have, up till now, we have talked about what a summary is, what are the qualities or the characteristics of a good summary, what should be there in a good summary. But let me tell you that how you have to write a summary, what steps should be followed to write any summary. This is quite understood that whenever you have to summarize something, you have to read the paragraph, you have to read the text until you understand it. You should not only try to understand the meaning of each and every word, but you have to try to understand the meaning of the whole sentence also. Because if you fail to understand the meaning of a sentence, you will not be able to restate it, you will not be able to reproduce it. So try to read the paragraph as many times as possible until and unless this is clear to you. And then keep writing or keep taking the notes while you are reading it. I believe we talked about the importance of note taking in one of the lectures, because whenever we listen to something, whenever we read something, it becomes very important for us to take the notes of whatever we have understood at the same time as we are reading it. Because if you think that once you read the whole paragraph you will write your notes, it becomes a bit difficult to retain the information that you have just read. So it is always recommended to read a sentence, understand it, and take a brief note of it. This note can be a word, it can be a phrase, and it can be a small sentence also. Then identify author's main points and note or rephrase them. Again, whatever the main idea of the author is, write it down, because these notes are going to help you for rewriting your own summary. And then your third step would be that based on your notes, you have to write a summary. So definitely when you read a sentence, you took or you wrote a brief note in front of it. You read the second sentence and then you took a note of it. And after giving 1, 2 or 3 readings, you are able to understand the basic idea of the paragraph or the basic points that the author had made in all that paragraph. So in this way you have written all the notes on one side. Based on your notes, you can definitely rewrite a summary. Once you are done with summary writing, you have to compare your summary with the original paragraph. Why should you compare? You should compare that if you have retained the basic idea of the author and you have not included your own inferences into it, you have not added your own judgment into it, you have not added your own comment in the summary, rather you have retained the author's own points, and then revise and edit your summary accordingly. Let me go into the details of writing summaries, because in the last summary, in the last slide, I talked about taking notes and rewriting it. So note taking is possible when you are understanding it and you are rephrasing it. So when you start writing a summary, it is very important to rephrase it or to paraphrase it. Paraphrase means to completely and correctly express other people's ideas in your own words. And this is something that most of us do. When we are given a topic to write on, we collect the ideas from the internet, we collect the ideas from different books, different articles, different notes, etc., and then we paraphrase them. We write them in our own words so that the possibility of plagiarism is minimized. So you have to paraphrase whatever you. Why is it important to paraphrase? Because it helps us to understand the original text. Then it helps us grasp the central ideas and the main points, and it also helps us write summaries that are brief and to the point and in our own words. So this is again something that I have just talked about. So now, how is it possible to paraphrase something? Although this is something that I have talked about indirectly earlier, let me talk about it once again. That if you have to paraphrase something, if you have to rephrase something, you have to read the original text carefully. Maybe you have to read it once, maybe you have to read it twice. There are people who understand the things with bit difficulty, so they may have to read it even thrice. So when you have read the text again and again, make it sure that you have understood its meaning, you have comprehended it well, because if you fail to understand what the author has said, you will definitely not be able to reproduce it. So once you think that you have read the text, you have understood it, and you have grasped the central ideas, after that you will be able to reproduce it. Now, another important thing, when you are paraphrasing something, it is important to find out the topic sentence. Find out the topic sentence of the paragraph. Sometimes, this is again something we talked about in our paragraph writing lecture, that when you are writing something or when you are reading a paragraph, most of the times the topic sentence is given at the top. Some authors are in habit of writing the topic sentence in the middle of the paragraph somewhere, and those who write something suspense based paragraphs, they write their topic sentence or they give their thesis statement towards the end of the paragraph. So it depends on the author's style, but most of the times the topic sentence is given in the beginning. So you have to identify the topic sentence, you have to make the notes of whatever you have read and understood. Based on your notes, you may have to write an outline, and then on the basis of your outline, you can write your own argument or you can write your own paragraph. Okay. In the beginning, I said that when you are writing a summary, it means you are summarizing something, you are reducing the length of the paragraph. You are reducing the number of words of that paragraph. So how can you do this? You can, one thing is quite clear, that when you have read 5 sentences, you have understood its meaning, you can reproduce it in your own words in a sentence also. Other than that, you can use the synonyms, you can use the antonyms, and you can rephrase it, you can change the structure of the sentence. But always remember that only replacing the words with their synonyms is not enough, because for each word there are 5 multiple meanings. And it is also important to remember that all those 5 words cannot fit well in your context, because different words may carry similar meaning but they do not fit in all contexts. You have to use the word according to the context or according to the sentence structure. So use the synonyms or synonymous phrases. For example, he had a good command of English. You can rephrase it and you can say he knew English well. So instead of writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words, you are writing 4 words only. Then if you change the structure of the sentence, you can also reduce the length of the sentence. My brother has an appreciation of modern art. My brother appreciates modern art. So when you change the sentence structure, the length of the sentence is automatically reduced. Then you also have to use the reporting verbs and the transitional words. Now, what are these reporting verbs? Reporting verbs are the words which report something, which talk about something, which tell something. You have read an argumentative paragraph and now you are rephrasing it. You would say the author argues. If you have read something which were descriptive, you may say the writer has described it well. So it depends on the nature of the paragraph that you have read. So according to that particular paragraph, you will use the reporting verbs. So reporting verbs and transitional words help you in reducing the sentence length also. Now, what are these transitional words? Transitional words are the words which help you in connecting the other sentences or to take your sentence into a transitional form. What is it? So you are stating one sentence and then you are saying that you are connecting different sentences. For example, he likes to walk in the morning. However, sometimes he skips it too. So these are two different sentences and you are joining it with the help of a transitional word that was however. When you are stating a sentence, for example, you missed yesterday's lecture and you want the lecture notes, you may say, since I was ill yesterday, therefore I couldn't attend the class and now I need the handout. So again, these are the transitional words. If you use them, you can minimize the number of sentences and the number of words automatically. So how you can combine the sentences? You can turn complex sentences into similar sentences, simple sentences. For example, he received a welcome that was as cold as ice. You can reduce the sentence length and you can say he received an icy welcome. So these were two phrases, one phrase and a sentence. He received a welcome that was as cold as ice. So you have connected these two sentences and it became he received an icy welcome. Then you can also say, for example, hurry up. If you don't, you will miss the train. So simply you can say hurry up or you will miss the train. So in this way, when you combine the sentences, you reduce the sentence. So once you have written all the information in your own words, you have combined the sentences, you have written all the information, you have taken the notes, and now this is the time to check your draft. I'm saying it draft because definitely this is still not the final version. You have to check it. For what you have to check it? You have to check the draft if you have expressed it in your own words to avoid the plagiarism. Then you have to check the draft if you have added all the supporting information or the supporting ideas if they were necessary. Because I have talked about it that if your supporting details are just the repetition of your main idea, you have to eliminate them. Because if you keep adding the supporting ideas, it means you are still giving the extra length to your summary. Then you have to check your draft if you have eliminated all the unnecessary words and repetitions. If the words are written in a sequence and they all are referring to one particular idea or to one particular point, there is no need to add all those words in your sentences. Just eliminate them because that would create redundancy. Then you have to check your draft if you have eliminated your personal ideas and inferences from your draft. If your draft contains your own expression means your own inference in your draft, it means you are not saying what the author has said. Because remember that you are reproducing something, a text which is as faithful to the original as the original text is. So if you are adding your personal ideas into it, if you are adding your own inferences into it, it means you are adding something which was never said by the author. Then check your draft if you have appropriately used the transitional words and the other verbs. So if you have used them in a sequence, it means you are giving them a smooth flow and logical flow to your ideas. If your transitional words are missing, there is the possibility you are writing the chunks and not the sentences. Then you have to check your draft if this is written in correct grammar and it does follow the structure of writing. If all these are written in the same format, your grammar is true, your grammar is free of flaws and free of faults, free of errors, it means now you are ready to submit your draft. But before submitting, check it once again if you have reduced the length of your summary to the original text. If you compare the length of your summary to the original text, if it is 1/3 or 1/4 of the original text, it is fine. Otherwise, you might have to recheck your draft to see if you are still writing the redundant words or the ideas. Just eliminate them. And then check your draft if you have given a good summing up sentence. I talked about the thesis statement or the key sentence in the beginning. Then I talked about all the necessary details if they are given in your summary. And then it is as important, your summing up sentence is as important as your key sentence is, because the key sentence introduces your text, then the text comes, and then in the end summing up text rephrases whatever you have already said. So it is again very important to conclude well your paragraphs. So when you have checked your draft and before giving your final version, these are the last questions that you have to ask to yourselves. And here comes the questions. Now, these are the questions and you have to answer them just for the sake of clarity. If you have to answer, that is all the important information present in the summary. If it is, it means your summary is fine. Otherwise, you have to edit your draft. Next question, am I listing things out? If you have missed some information, edit your draft. Otherwise, go ahead. Next question, am I saying the same thing over and over again? It means if yes, you are still using the repetition, your ideas are redundant, your words are redundant, it means you have to edit it. Otherwise, go ahead. Next to the next question. Have I left out my personal views and ideas into it? Again, very important that if still your summary contains your own opinion, your own ideas, your own inferences, it means you have to go back to the edit button and you have to edit your draft. Otherwise, move ahead. Another important point, does my summary hang together? Here comes your transitional words. If your summary hangs together, it means there is coherence in it. All the sentences are interconnected with each other. If your sentences are not connected with each other, it means your summary is still lacking something, and that is the coherence. You have to edit it once again. Then you have to check your draft and see if your grammar, punctuation and spellings are correct. If they are, that's wonderful. Otherwise, you again have to edit your draft. If you have answered all these questions and you have checked your draft and you have edited your draft accordingly, it means now you are ready to give your final draft. If you are writing it on a paper, then definitely you have to rewrite it. If you are typing it on your computer, then it means you are editing it at the same time as you were answering all these questions. But still you have to give a final reading to your draft and then submit it to your teacher. So this is how we learned the art of summary writing today. Hope now you will be able to produce good summaries of your text. So good luck to your summary writing. Have a good day.